All right, this video is for some basic marker techniques. I'm going to show you 3 different things. So the first one, we're going to look at these clouds up here. And one thing I'm going to try and do here is I'm just going to add a blue outline. I've already drawn the clouds. I'm going to add a blue outline in here. And this is going to be the one where I add some water. And so it's a little dark blue, and then I'll take a light blue here. These are just Crayola water-based washable markers. Anything that is not permanent being like a Sharpie, will work really well for this. And you can do it lots of different ways, lots of different effects with this. Some really cool creative things. I'm just going to give you a real simple outline one, and then I want to see you do something super creative and cool. Okay, so I've just kind of outlined everything. Now I'm going to take just a regular paintbrush and some water, and I'm just going to take that, and the 2 blues will bleed together, and this bleeding will only go where I put that water. So every once in a while I'll clean my brush off a little bit, and it won't go up into the purple if I don't add water to that area. And there we go. And the more I water this down, the more it'll fade out. So I'm controlling how much fade I get off of this water. So this is a really cool way. If I was doing clouds in the sky, this would be a really good way to keep the clouds white, get the whole sky colored without tediously trying to use a fine tip marker to fill an entire background. Then you get all these visible lines and stuff. This is a much more effective way to do it, and I think it looks pretty cool. And it's just simple water on a paintbrush, and you're basically using these Crayola markers like they are watercolor paint now. Okay, and I'll just clean up that line. The key is to work with the wet edge. It takes a little practice so you don't get like a hard edge here. And I'm just kind of scrubbing it almost with the brush tip. If you do a little practice, you can get some really cool stuff. Here's a fade, but you could also have drips. You can get a straw and you could blow some of this water around and make some really cool effects. If I wanted to go inside just a little bit, lighten up some edges there. I have to be careful, otherwise this purple will also bleed into the outside. So really what you would do here is let the blue completely dry. If you're not trying to make a super short YouTube video, let the blue completely dry and then come in with the purple, and then the 2 won't bleed together. Okay, but I think you get the idea of some of the cool stuff that you can do by just adding some water now to your paints. Okay, I'll just a little bit more there so you can kind of see what's happening. Yeah, way better than just a regular simple outline drawing, right? The second one here is, I've smeared it a little bit, but I've started to draw, looks like a beanstalk going up to the sky here. And for this one, I've gone in already with the green. And what you want to do if you're doing stippling is always vary your colors. So I've done the darkest areas with the darkest green. Now I'll go in with a secondary green, and I would probably do the vast majority of this leaf in this second green. Same with the stalk here, lots of green there. Same with over here. And I won't make you sit and watch this, but the key here is that you're not just filling something in with a single color green. I'm using multiple greens here. So I've only got 2 in my pack. So what could you use? Well, green's made of blue and yellow. So for sure, I'll take some yellow, and that is going to be kind of the highlight. And actually I can see, because these are water-based markers, when this yellow hits the other green, they kind of fade together and make a really light, nice green. Okay, so, and you can see kind of what's happening there. There's lots of different values going in. Same thing here. I might even, there we go. And you would spend a lot more time and really get this kind of filled up. You really don't want much in terms of white. And you can mix techniques in your art too. So you might choose to do stippling in your subject matter. So let's say I was doing a bouquet of flowers and they were all like this leaf and these gorgeous colors all done in stippling. And then I might decide to go in with my background and a little bit of water and use that technique very carefully here. There you go, look at that. Ooh. Ouch, okay. I got a little drop of water in there. So now what you would have to do is let that dry before you can repair it. In fact, I probably should have let all this kind of dry a little bit. But now if that happens when you're doing your stippling, basically what you don't want is it to be in just one part, because then it looks like it's a mistake. And so I would let this dry a little bit, and then I would probably kind of just maybe even take that and add just a little bit more, and maybe use some of that water to stipple the bottom part of this leaf here, so it looks like I meant to do it. So part of art is taking your mistakes. Now when that completely dries, I would go back in with my darkest Sharpie and I would repair in there. Okay. The third option was to do a line drawing. So I've just drawn a circle here. I did a circle because something curved is about the hardest thing to draw in line. So if you have lines going one way, it's hatching. If you start to overlap them, that's called cross hatching. And you can overlap them over and over. And the more you build up these layers of line, the darker it's going to get. So you can see that this circle sphere is starting to get some volume as I build this up. But what I would do is at this point, I would come in and I would get, I don't know, maybe I'll take maybe an orange and a yellow. And just like everything else we do, we want to overlap. And so I have a fine orange here and I'm overlapping and going inside. Now, because the orange is lighter than the red, I can easily go behind it. And I'll go in a couple directions there. And all I'm really trying to do is build up some volume in this sphere so that it looks like it's three-dimensional. So it looks like it's not just a flat sphere with no volume to it. Okay, and so the key is to just build up layer after layer. And you could always go back, and I'm kind of cheating and coloring a little bit here at the bottom to really get that thickened up. Now I have my red, I have my orange, and now I'm going to go to the yellow. You can see even just those two colors looks much, much better than one. So now I would take my last color, the yellow here, and I'll just leave a little white spot for the highlight in the very center there. And I'm going to draw lines over everything else. And I'll bring it, even though it's really hard to see, I would bring that yellow all the way down into here, and you can't even see it. It looks kind of orange. And I'm even going to take a pink here. I just feel I need another color down at the bottom. Not quite as dark as the red, to darken this up a little bit. There we go, look at that. Okay, and so you can see how I've built up a volume of hatching on here. And it's kind of like we learned about with drawing, how you take that outside contour line and we shade and we fade it away. Same thing here. We're getting rid of the outlines around everything and filling them in. It's just like we did with the water and kind of what we did with the stippling too. We kind of faded that as well. You can see now I would go back in here and I would, don't rush it like me. You're not making a YouTube video. Wait for everything to dry, but you could go back in and repair this marker later. Okay, so there are 3 different options for using your markers this week. Good luck.